Lord, we know that this study on angels has things that we need to learn and things that are just reminiscent of explaining who you are. And we want to get a good picture of it. But we need your insight. There's many things we don't understand, and it's sometimes written as if we're not necessarily the ones that are mainly written for. But we do get to see it. It has a benefit to us. And we do pray again for insight, that the Holy Spirit would lead us and guide us. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, we are not in Luke 10, but we are in Revelation 21. And we're finishing up Revelation and concerning Revelation 21:9. Some of these are simple, but we're just going to try to explain them. Anne, we'll start with you. Revelation 21:9. Then one of the seven angels who had the seven bowls full of the seven last plagues came and spoke to me, saying, "Come here, and I will show you the bride, the wife of the Lamb." Tell me things about angels in it.
7 angels.
Okay.
We have 7 bowls.
Do you remember the 7 angels? Which 7 angels are we talking about?
Not sure.
Yeah, they're just regular angels.
Okay, regular angels.
Well, I mean, they're the ones who have the 7 bowls. So it's the 7 angels. We already met them. Okay, and it's just one of them. So one of these 7 angels. Now, remember, what's happening with John is he has an angel talking to him. Right? But it almost seems like this angel is one of the 7 angels and the one talking to John, as we will see. It kind of overlaps. But so we have...
this isn't... Wait a minute, you think that this is the same angel that's been carrying John through this whole journey?
Yeah, you'll see in a minute why I think that, because it kind of like overlaps, like he's explaining this. It's either that or... Let's do both option. So the thing is that, so what is this, what does the angel do?
The angel wants to show John the bride.
Right, so he talks to John. Think about this. We're in a vision, right? About the future, talking with an angel in that vision that's other than the angel... Possibly, other than the angel that he's already talked to. Watching the other angels do the 7 plagues. So there's a lot of layers of concept that are going on here, how somehow they're seeing what's going on.
So he's talking to one of the 7 angels, and that 7th angel is out there in the vision, but he's seeing going on in the future. Exactly. Exactly. He's one of the ones that went through the display in the vision, and now he's talking to him. Yeah. It's either that's me over there, or that other angel comes in to talk to him. Different than the angel. You see? That's what we're going to figure out. And so what does the angel say? What does he want to show him?
He wants to show him the church of the bride, the wife of the Lamb.
Yeah. So what does that tell you about angels, what they can do?
They can reveal things.
Yeah, they can show things. Yeah. I mean, they must have their own audio-visual type of display. Yeah. Let me show you, because this is a future event, right? This is not like a past event, like repeat. This is a future event that is being shown.
Yeah, and he's under God's order, though. I mean, they're not doing anything just to do it.
Right, but still the thing is that, I could tell you to show somebody in the future, but unless God gave you the capacity... Normally, it would give you the capacity or some sort of... it seems like angels have that capacity. How would we know that?
By what they do,
And who else did that? Showed people things that you couldn't see necessarily by sight. Angels? Satan did, remember?
Yeah.
Remember, Satan showed him the kingdoms of the earth?
Right.
He didn't visit all the places. Remember, he took Jesus to the pinnacle. So he moved Jesus around, took him to the pinnacle, then showed him things that you could not see. You can't show him all the kingdoms of the earth. You can't see it from Jerusalem. I mean, visually. Okay, so there has to be some ability to see. So, all right, wife of the Lamb, what's that?
The church.
Okay. What about Israel? Could it be Israel?
Could it be Israel?
Could it?
Could it?
Yeah, could it be?
Yeah, those that are redeemed.
Right.
Because not like the Israel.
The saved Israel was considered the bride, as well as the church was considered the bride. And this is Jesus showed in the bride.
Right.
So this angel seems to be a different angel, or it could be the same angel. Okay, verse 10, Elisha says, "And he carried me away in the spirit to the great and high mountain, and showed me the holy city, Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God."
So he gets carried away in the spirit to a high mountain.
By the Spirit or in the Spirit?
Oh, in the spirit.
Yeah, what does that mean? Now, that's a capital S, okay, but it could be lowercase s. Okay? How do you get carried away in the Spirit? Who's doing this? Who's he carried?
Are we still talking about the angel?
Yeah, the angel's doing this, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So the angel is taking to a place, okay, does it exist? Is it there yet? No, it's not there yet. Okay, because this is a new heaven and the new earth hasn't been created yet with a mountain on it. Right? New Jerusalem isn't, it may be made, but it's not down here. So he takes a...
Is he just trying to give him like a visual of like what's to come, like an image?
But it's more to the... Is he? You don't have to carry somebody to some place, right? You don't have to carry somebody to some place if it's just a vision. Do you?
Possibility. In the sense he can just take his spirit.
So what happens is they're moving around in a future place that doesn't exist yet, and he's moving him around inside of this, and he is not in the physical. I would really say that he was in the spirit means he's not, his physical body's not there. So it could be the Holy Spirit, but I don't...
Is he moving him around though to get like the image of what's to come?
Yeah, so he's just not changing his view. He's actually taking him to the place with the mountain.
Because he's a visual learner.
Exactly.
Yay, just like me. I get it.
So these things aren't just like flat screened.
Right.
This is a 3D, full dimensional view of something that doesn't exist quite yet. So I don't know how you go into the future and move around. Okay, that's...
I'll ask when I get there.
Yeah. So what is he looking at?
I'm sorry, what?
What do we look? What's he showing him?
Oh, the Jerusalem, the holy city, coming down.
Yeah. This is after the new, or having a new earth. So there's a mountain, and actually there's going to be mountains, and it's described as a mountain like the mountains we have that are somehow...
The city of Jerusalem is described as the high mountain.
No. Look at it says, take away into the Spirit to a great mountain and showed him the Holy City.
Okay.
So
he's looking from the high mountain to Jerusalem.
Right, exactly. He's looking from the high and great mountain, and so there's this huge mountain that you can see the New Jerusalem, and it's coming down out of heaven. So it's
like the 1,300 miles Jerusalem.
It's angelic measurements, so maybe it's different.
I mean,
No, it isn't either. I'm just teasing. Because we're going to get down there where it says it's angelic measurements are human. Basically, it's 1,500 miles or whatever. Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, but there's a huge mountain you can see it from. He wants to give him a perspective, because if he was just on the ground, he'd only see the bottom half. But if you got a great and high mountain, so the new earth is going to have a great and high mountain at which to see this site. Pretty cool stuff right there. And the thing is that just some things about the eternal state. It's called the New Jerusalem, which means it's connected to the Old Jerusalem and it's visual. The idea is that the eternal state is having things that are similar to what they are now, and they're called the same thing. So the thing is that the new heaven and new earth are not something totally different, like just like a flat plane. It is close to what we already know because he's using the word. He just doesn't say, we're going to show you. So Jerusalem as a city is significant in God's Old Testament, old way. And so the new one, it doesn't look anything like the new one, but it's what God envisioned the new one by what the old one should be. Because the new one did not, wasn't a 1,500 mile square.
So it's the old one with some newer updates.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it still has the same name because the name is significant.
Got it.
So how is, when he's being carried away in the Spirit, how's it different than the first 20 chapters of Revelation? Isn't he in the Spirit?
Yeah, he is in the Spirit because in chapter 1 he says he's in the Spirit.
So, this is like a...
He's just moving. Before, the thing is that it's all like, it's kind of like one location. This one is not a location. This is actually there. Again, this is explaining things as if it's like this is just happening. But I remember this is kind of hard to conceive in your mind, future moving around, which really means that we don't really understand what God can do and how time works or how the whole visual thing works. I mean, from God's standpoint, remember, everything is already present. There's no sequence. So all those things are as real. I mean, God could just be creating it in their ability to see it in some sort of way. In some sort of dimension, they could just see it as it will be. Hope 12:21:12. It had a great high wall with 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and the names were written on them, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the sons of Israel. Just the angel part. Some of the other part you can tell us about.
The angels were I'm guessing guarding the doors.
Does it have to be guard?
Not really, but that's normally why they're at a gate in the past. That was mostly.
Is that why you have somebody at Walmart at the doors?
That's not a good example.
I'm just saying they have other purpose in the.
I guess greeting.
You have greeting. You have also the guards in England at the Buckingham Palace that are show or display. What?
With the furry hats.
Yeah, with the furry hats. So, what about the other 12? The tribes, are they hanging out? Does everybody have to stay there as part of the 12 tribes?
Does everyone have to stay there, you said?
Yeah, who's only present in all of that description? The 12 tribes are just named, right?
Just named, yeah.
Right, so it's not like a representative from the 12 tribes has to stand there either. So the angels stay there. I mean, it doesn't seem like, it talks about that nothing will enter the city. Okay, I don't think of it as guarding, because if God's never going to let them in, why would he have to guard them? I don't know. I mean, that's what people assume it's guarding, but it just could be there as a display again. So, Alicia?
Do you think that it's also there for direction?
I don't think so. I think everybody knows. I don't think there's directions. I think there's a sense in which it's just, I mean, it's like they never get bored because they never get tired because they're just there.
So this is the city.
The New Jerusalem.
New Jerusalem. This is after everything.
Yeah, so it's not.
Why would there even need to be a wall, to be honest with you? Why would
Well, the thing is that why is there food? Why is there space? Why is there light?
the food is enjoyment.
Well, this is just what we're familiar with. We like things. We were made for structures. We like. Go ahead.
Didn't Jerusalem have a wall around it?
Yeah. Yeah, but this is a little bit bigger. You know,
Yeah, no,
this.
but they had a wall, so maybe
Yeah.
you said that this is a copy of
Right.
the old Jerusalem, but it would be exactly almost
Yeah.
better, but exactly.
Yeah, and the thing is that you have all sorts of things that are on the gates, and the beauty of it is different. But again, we like spaces. You know, I prepared a place for you. I mean, it's the same thing. You know, kids like to have boundaries. You know, so the thing is that New Jerusalem, there's the whole earth, but then there's the city. So it's both and. But it's interesting that there's 12 gates. I mean, I guess there's 4 on each side. You know, or 3 on each side. It goes 12, right? Or 4 on each side, 4 times. I mean, 3 on each side, yeah. That's what I just, great on math, though. There you go. They're angelic gates, so they're different side. Oh, different. Oh, no. Now, the thing is that, so there are just 12 of them. So here they are, they're at the gates. And then you have Sue. Not this one, we'll get the next one. It says, the one who spoke to me, okay, here's another one, speaking to me, spoke to me, had a golden rod, like a ruler, okay, to measure the city and its gates and its walls. Okay, so this is one of the angels. Yep, and then this one, the city is laid out as a square. Its length is as great as the width, and we measured the city with the rod. This is a long extension cord, I mean a long tape measure. 1,500 miles. Its length, width, height are equal. Okay, just imagine how many people there are. I imagine this is it. Everybody has a place in the city and a place in the country. So you'll have a country home. That's my assumption. Everybody gets to be in the city or everybody gets to be outside. Wherever you want. And so this is...
So these are also pretty fast because like a measuring rod, you know, is like, I don't know,
certain
10
distance.
feet or something. Yeah. And so to go 1,500 miles, you know, he's a pretty fast walker. Yeah,
and the thing is, this is measured in statons. Measure, so, statons. So, this is the important one right here, Sue. This is what I want you to answer. And he measured its walls 72 yards, that's thick, according to human measurements, which are angelic measurements. So how do they measure? How do angels measure?
According to human measurements.
Right.
Measured its wall 72 yards.
That's how thick it is. It's a pretty thick wall.
That's not wall to wall.
Oh, I didn't realize that was the thickness.
Yeah, I think this is thickness of the walls.
Which are also angelic measurements.
Yeah, so what it means is that when we talk about numbers or things, there's not a difference. This is exactly what they measured. Like, this back here, 1,500 miles is just a conversion. They didn't have miles back in Jesus' time. They had a different kind of measurements. But that's what we've converted it to.
I wonder, I know God wanted John to write all this down, but what is the purpose for us to know all these measurements and calculations?
Tell us, Sue. Well, think about it for a minute. Is that in the Old Testament, when he told you places and events that happen around prophecy, the more details, what does more details help with you?
Helps you to understand.
And also you know that it's true. Right? You're not going to, God's not going to go out on a limb if it's a guess, right? What it's saying is, this is so real that we actually have measurements for it. This is not like, oh, we're going to see a big city and it's actually been measured.
I mean, it's like it's been designed and it's ready to be
inhabited.
I won't say it exists, but it's ready to come into existence.
Yeah, It says he's preparing a place for us. This is the place. This is the John. So the thing is that, how's the place going? Like if you're having a house built, right?
Yeah.
And you want to call and see, is it ready for you, Sue? Is your house ready? It's got the measurements down, right?
Right.
Everything's measured out. We got the full scale. This is not a model. This is the real thing, but it's in a future time. I think it's already created, but it's not come down out of heaven yet. So.
But I mean, it's just like the tabernacle had very precise measurements. The temple had very precise measurements. So it gives you some sense that these places were real.
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted, even the ark had very precise dimensions, and they tried to make something as faithful as they could down in Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
And so you get a sense of how huge this thing is, rather than just reading it. It's a big boat. Well, no, it's more than a big boat.
Right, the thing is, this boat can be measured and compared. And what God does is he gives us more details than we necessarily need to encourage our faith that it's real. He wants us to trust that it's real. Heaven is, we're not going to heaven. Did you know that? Where are we going? A new heaven and a new earth, and we're living the new Jerusalem too, on top of it. We're not just, we don't got clouds reserved, okay? Plus, we only found out that angels can sit on clouds. Doesn't say we sit. But you understand, every detail shows you the reality of what it is. So that's what I think. It's all designed. These things were written for our encouragement. So, all right. So we know angelic measurements are the same size. So this city is the very same size. Nobody's going to question, or should question, the reality of that. Let's go to verse 6, 22:6. Jessica, we're picking up words from angels, and he said to me, these words are faithful and true in the Lord. Now, I guess I got to back up. This is the same angel talking. And then he says this, and he said to me, these words are faithful and true, and the Lord, the God of the spirits of the prophets, sent his angels to show his bondservant the things which must soon take place. What do we learn about angels? His speech, about his...
They reveal things.
Yep.
So spirits, that's the angels of the prophets, spirits of
the spirits of the prophets. Okay, there's another complicated word, spirit. So the spirits of the prophets. So if we interpret, remember we have like 5 or 6 or 7 different interpretations of what spirit means. One of the options is the idea is that test the spirits to see whether they're from God. And one of the options is actually the message. It says, let no man disturb you, as if a letter or a spirit or a message as if from us. That's in 2 Thessalonians.
So that's okay.
That could be that one, which means it's the message of the prophets. That seems the best. I don't know if the spirit of the prophets, it could be the personality of the prophets, but that doesn't seem very strong. It couldn't be the actual people of the prophets, their personality, the God of the personality of the prophets. It seems like the message, which has the impact and the power of the Spirit of God behind it. That's how. So, whose angel is this?
The God of the Spirit of God.
Yeah. His angel belonging to him. He's the Lord. And he's telling you the words are faithful and true. The angel is saying that, right? And what was his design in the book of Revelation?
It's to reveal the future.
Right.
And times to bless us with.
So he was sent the same word that we use for apostle. I was sent, commissioned as an angel, sent from God. Okay, notice the parallel. I sent and brought you and showed you type of a thing.
So it's kind of like when he says the God of the spirit of the prophets. It's a comparison, like maybe obviously he's the one who revealed to the prophets.
Right.
Through them, so he's sending his angel to.
Right. So this same thing as the angel, like that. The same thing that the prophets were sent, the same thing is the same as the angel was sent to reveal his message. So he used the prophets, and the angel showed him. He shows who? His bond servants. Who are they?
Well, all believers in a sense are.
Yeah. The churches and everybody who believes. And about what?
Things which must soon take place.
Yeah. So this will soon take place. So the angels were used as the messenger, the apostles, apostello, sent ones. So God specifically wanted the angels to be sent to us so we can be shown what is going on.
Okay, so I'm slightly confused. So the angel that is in verse 1 and also, I guess, verse 6 is the same one that has showed John what was going on in chapter 21.
It seems to be, because unless it seems like he's one of the angels.
But then this kind of implies that the angel to show his bondservant is the one that's showing him the rest of Revelation.
Yeah. Because this one links back to verse in chapter 1. It's this one. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show his bondservant the things which soon take place, and he sent and communicated by his angels to his bondservant.
So he's kind of now this other angel that had one of the 7 bowls.
It seems like they may be the same one.
You think they are?
I don't know.
I guess it doesn't really matter, but
it just either way it makes it strange. Okay, it's like Jay was saying. The idea is that that's me in the thing, and let me take you on another trip, or some other angel is now involved in it, taking him on this one of the 7 angels. So that's what option.
Because I guess he could have said he could have sent me to show his bondservants.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. He's using
kind of like a
third person, yeah. Because he's actually, in a sense, quoting what God is saying. He's repeating what God said. It's kind of like God has sent me. Instead of God has sent me, he has sent his angel. So, or it could be this other angel has picked up the dialogue, but it only seems to be one angel that was sent to show him. So from here on out, we got another showing. And verse 8, Craig says, I, John, am the one who heard and saw these things. And when I heard and I saw, I fell down to worship at the feet of the angel who showed me these things. So, yeah. Tell us about that, Craig.
So he's saying he's the one who witnesses. He's the one who saw all these things.
Yep.
And when he heard and saw them, he fell down to worship at the feet of the angel who showed him these things.
Yep. Doesn't it seem like the same angel who showed him everything is the same one who just showed him the high mountain and one of the 7? Seems like the same angel.
Yeah, that kind of makes it a little bit tighter.
Yep. So what does it teach us about worshiping angels? John did it.
Yeah,
Next verse, right? So why does it tell us that John did this? Just give us some guesses.
Show how much in awe he was, number 1.
Yeah.
2, it shows that we don't worship angels.
Yeah. Yeah. So what it does is this little dialogue or this overwhelmingness. This is how we see him overwhelmed, right? And he falls down. So does the angels have feet?
Yeah, he said he fell down to worship at the feet of the angels.
So this angel has feet, right? Did we found that out? And he's the one who showed him these things. So he's the one who was just talking. John is an eyewitness, okay, of the showing. Dan, it says, and he said to me, do not do that. I am a fellow servant of yours and of your brethren the prophets and of those who heed the word of this book. Worship God.
Again, proving that we're not supposed to worship angels.
Yep.
Angels will tell you, don't do it if you encounter one like that. If one accepts there's something wrong, it's not the right angel. It's actually demon.
Yeah.
But did you make them a fellow? Again, here's the same class. Like it's the angels want to look into.
Yeah.
Full right inheritance. We are fellow brothers of the prophets. The same way he's been living ever since God created them. He's all the prophets, saw them, rivers,
Yep.
spirits he's encountered through.
How are we to view angels?
They're fellow servants.
Yeah. They're just servants like us. We should view ourselves as a servant. So are they.
But at the same time, we're so being John seeing the stuff he lives, break the ground. Even though it's fellow servant, I'm sure we start to see angels.
Yeah, and the thing is that, but remember the vision has created, I think, part of that, like Craig was saying, and part of all that was going on and the amazing. People always get hung up with the messenger, right? And think that the messenger is like the message. Okay? You know, like that's why people try to honor men on earth, or people who preach the gospel, or people who've made an impact on their life. Well,
actually it's God who used them to do that. You think God for instead of saying person.
Right, same thing like, remember with Paul, it says they worshipped him because he did a miracle and stuff like that and healed. It's like, no, I'm just a servant. This is our role. So
the brethren and prophets, those who heed the words of the book, worship God. So
Yep.
no other scriptures, which is good.
yeah.
They didn't have all scriptures then, but we
So they would see themselves as, tell me about the yours. The yours.
God, just like God had him show John this stuff. He's a servant too.
Yeah, he's serving
It's just showing
people.
It's the example.
Yeah.
It's about the same example.
I'm a servant of yours. Right?
Serve one another.
Yep.
Same thing.
Yep. And your brethren and those who heed the word tells us about what? What prophets you think that the brethren, the prophets, is this only the Old Testament prophets that wrote in the books? And
No, it's all of them.
yeah, I think it's just general, everybody who's ever communicated. So the communication has been assisted by angels. And everybody heeds the words of this book. Well, how do the angel view the words of this book?
Very important.
Divine and authoritative, right?
The word was flesh and dwelt among us.
Yeah, so this angel expected that everything that they talked about with John was to be what? Heeded and listened to. It wasn't just... So what does the angel tell us to do?
Worship God.
Worship God. Yep.
So when he says this book, he's really specifically talking about Revelation,
Yeah.
not the rest of the
Yeah. Yeah, but that's how it starts, too. Remember the ones who heed the book that talks about in chapter 1. And,
In the very end, too, they take ads or takes away plagues.
Yeah. You know, one of the things you might want to do is, what is there actually to take heed in the book of Revelation?
Oh, if you're around through it a lot.
What?
If you're living through it.
Yeah. But the whole idea is, you know, like it talks about in chapter 1, verse 3. A lot of times what happens is people take Revelation and only talk about, oh, this is what the future is going to be. Look, the idea is that blessed is he who reads and those who hear the words of the prophet and heed the things written in them.
We're to live, even though it hasn't happened yet, we're sort of done. We're to live like that.
We're to live in the light of
the future from.
Yeah, the judgment part. So the judgment is that they would not repent, so I am going to repent. They were faithful, I should be faithful. So the idea of future events are designed to be applied to the present. There is something in future that is to be heeded.
So enjoy heaven now. like angel fellowship.
Yeah.
More about it.
And this is enjoying you have chapter 2 and 3 that talks about the churches listening, but I think it has the overall book in mind. I think there's applications to the whole thing, but that's a side issue. So we have 9. All right, that's it. We are done with Revelation. So let's go to. Well, we can do two things. We can go to the angelic watchers. Which one you want to go to? The angelic watching, or we can go to Job. What? Job? Okay, want to go to Job? Okay, let's go there. So there's some verses in Job, but we're going to jump in chapter 4. We already did it in chapter 1, where we talked about the sons of God. We did that with Satan, the sons of God. But there are some. This is in chapter 4, Job chapter 4, starting at verse 14. All right, John.
Came upon me and trembling, and made all my bones shake.
So the reason why I got this is because of this verse. Then a spirit passed by my face, and the hair of my flesh bristled. So this is talking about what? This is talking about a spirit, an angel, passed by me. He has some sort of an encounter with a spirit, an angelic spirit. This is how he feels. It's either describing Eliphaz, or somebody Eliphaz knew, describing an encounter with a spirit. It's not demonic spirit. So how do you feel? What was it like?
Trembling and made all my bones shake. So,
Yeah.
I think a good angel would make you do all that.
Yep, it would. Remember, lots of people were afraid. So when you have remember they were afraid and were going to die, type of a thing. They had all sorts of fear. And when they tell you don't be afraid, before they get too far in their discussion, it means what? They're probably afraid, right? It's like every time we show up, you guys are afraid. So they have a sense of dread.
Yeah.
A sense of trembling.
And trembling and made all my bones shake. Wow.
Yeah.
He must have been really scared.
Yeah. So an encounter with an angel could be very scary for us, supernatural encounter. Jay Walker, then a spirit passed by my face, the hair of my flesh bristled up.
We just kind of wished on his face and scared.
So what does it mean, pass by my face? Yeah, you know how somebody, when you get close to somebody, they can feel like you're there, but you can't. So he sensed something past his face, and his hair he got goosebumps.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan?
It's kind of funny, the stupid show with ghost hunters and all that silly stuff. I felt this, or embraced it, maybe goosebumps. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. He just kind of bristled. So the thing is that spirits can make us know that they're there, but their appearance is a little odd here. And Jay Ewing's going to tell us about it. And it stood still, but I could not discern its appearance. A form was before my eyes. There was silence. Then I heard a voice.
So it's like there's a entity, but not something that you could, really tell what it was.
It didn't have a real shape to it, did it?
It was like a, I don't know, like, I won't say a blob, but it's like a formless, I'll say entity, but it's like a being.
Yeah, it's a being that doesn't have a body. Right? I couldn't discern its appearance. I couldn't discern exactly how it shaped itself. Okay?
And then it said there was silence, and I heard a voice. So the NIV says, then I heard a hushed voice.
Yeah.
So it kind of brings to me the picture of when God's talking to, I think, Elijah, and, but then there's thunder and thing, but then he speaks in a quiet voice.
So in Revelation, how do they normally talk when we heard some of them?
Those were like huge, like booming
voices.
Scare the heck out of you.
Yeah, exactly. So this was quiet, so it didn't freak him
the
out.
opposite of that.
Yeah. So you didn't. I think part of the silence or part of the quietness was so they didn't freak out. He's just saying that this is this encounter that they.
I'm giving you as much as you can handle.
Yeah. And so it was a form in my eyes, and then I heard this. This is what this Spirit says. Can mankind be just before God? Can a man be pure before his Maker? Kim.
So this angel spoke to Job in a very hushed voice.
Yeah.
Saying, can man, do humans be righteous, just before God, and can a person be pure before his Maker?
So what is the angel bringing up about mankind?
That we are by nature not righteous and not pure.
Right. Yeah, so the thing is, the angel is communicating the sinfulness of man. And he's doing it in the form of a question, but the implication is that he's not right.
So I guess I never got to find details here, because you read through this, you don't catch that, I guess, however you say his name,
Eliphaz,
is speaking, but all of a sudden his discourse to Job gets interrupted, and
I think he's relating that he had this encounter.
So he's saying he heard this from
an angel.
The angel told him.
Yeah.
So he's just repeating what he heard.
Yeah. And he's just talking about the sinfulness of men, which is interesting that angels would do that, right? Explaining the sinfulness of man. Remember, Job is in the book of Genesis, so they don't have much written at all. There is nothing actually written, as far as we have fully written. Kim, I'll give you this one too, verse 18. It says, He puts no trust even in his servants, and against his angels he charges error.
God doesn't trust his servants. His servants, like Job.
Even the most righteous people, he doesn't trust them in the sense, right?
Right.
Because they're sinners.
Right. And against his angels, he charges error. Right?
So
it means that angels can make mistakes.
Oh, and angels have been, because this time they're fallen. So the thing is, he holds angels accountable. This is probably one of the few places before the earliest places to tell us that the angels fell. So the implication of it, see? The thing is, he holds them accountable. So the idea is that who is actually pure? There's no one.
Not even angels.
Yeah, especially I would assume fallen angels he's talking about here. Unless God makes you pure, keeps you pure, you can't be pure. There's nobody innocent.
But the angels he sends, they don't make mistakes.
Yeah, they're holy angels. But again, what happens is Eliphaz's argument is to point out that judgment takes place on people. He's trying to say that it happens to everybody, and there's nobody righteous. his arguments a little. But basically, he says, "This is what an angel told me," and this is, I think, what the angel is saying. So basically, if the angel says God's going to hold angels accountable for their sinning, that's what it's saying. And he doesn't trust even his servants, which means that nobody is righteous. He has to make them. So, and it goes on talking about how men are of clay and stuff like that. So let's go to Job 26:4. 26:4. And 26:4 and 5. To whom have you uttered words, and whose spirit was expressed through you? Whose spirit was expressed? And then verse 5. The departed spirits tremble under the waters and their inhabitants. Pretty easy, right? Give us your best guess. It's hard to...
Yeah, Job is speaking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And he was not happy with his friends because they were, that's the reason why he said that. Yeah, because they were trying to charge him with sinning against God or something like that.
Yeah, that his judgment was directly related to some sin, which it's not. So this spirit is not the same as that one.
No.
Is it?
No.
The departed spirits tremble under the water and their inhabitants.
Departed spirits being people that have died.
It could be. It could also be angelic spirits. It's hard to tell.
Right.
So it uses the word spirit.
Okay, because I would never look at that and think angelic spirits.
And it might not be. But the idea is it is one of the options of it. So, because the idea of departed is shades or ghosts. So we have this whole.
To me, that usually indicates people that are dead. Ghosts.
That's only because that's our translation, departed. So this one is. Let's see what this guy here. Savage race destroyed by the gods, so it uses a different name. So that's why it could be angels. So the angel, you could just say, fallen angels tremble under the water and their inhabitants. But I don't know what that part means either. So, all right, that was clear, right? Let's go to Job. Let's go to Job 33:23. All right. And if there is an angel as a mediator for him, 1 out of 1,000 to remind a man what is right for him. Alicia. Now, here's the verse before. Then the soul draws near to the pit, and his life to those who bring death. And if there is an angel as mediator for him, or messenger, 1 of 1,000 to remind a man of what is right for him. Can you get something out of that about the angel?
Okay, hold on. So in 22, are we talking about the pit being the bottomless pit?
Probably just death.
Okay.
I think it's Sheol.
Okay.
No, it's just the pit. So it could be that.
So then the angel in 23 is the mediator between him and death?
What happens is that somebody's going to die. That's this verse, right?
Yeah.
Death is coming.
Right.
Is there anybody to mediate for him between him and God? Okay?
And he thinks that the angel would be the mediator?
Yeah, so we have two types of angels in the Old Testament. Remember regular ordinary angel, and then what other angel? Kind of stepped up angel, more important angel, Jesus kind of angel. Remember that one? Remember the angel of the Lord?
Oh, okay.
Remember the angel of the Lord was this higher role. Okay, he was considered. So this may be talking about the angel of the Lord as the mediator. This may be a description of Christ. Okay?
Right.
And can he find somebody to mediate? This is the whole thing. And then it goes on, it says, then let him be gracious to him and say, deliver him from going to the pit. I have found a ransom.
Yeah.
See how that, and then
That
it's,
ties together that it would be the Lord.
right.
The mediator.
Yeah, so this word angel is probably talking about like Christ
Okay.
as a mediator. All right, and our last one in Job, Job 38:7.
Why does it say 1 out of 1,000? Just because it's like there's just
Yeah, there's only one, yeah.
it's
Could
not
we-
any run-of-the-mill angels. There's
Right.
one very specific.
Yeah. Yeah, so the thing is there's just very few. It could be a messenger like this. 38:7. Hope. It says, when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy. Are there any angels in there? Yeah, sons of God and morning star is a description of them. Why would they call morning stars? Remember in Revelation 9, remember a star came down out of heaven, the guiding star. Stars seem to, the morning star is the brightest star and light in the morning. It's called a morning star. Stars. And what are they doing? These morning stars.
Shouting for joy, so they're worshiping.
They're shouting and they're joyful, right? And then they sing. Right, this is the only clear verse that angels sing. This is the clearest verse that angels sing. Everything else they say or talk or whatever. Yeah, I mean, Christmas carols may be nice, but it's not as clear about, but they do. They sing. When did they sing? When creation was created. You know, they went into song. So these angels are shouting and singing. This is loud talk. And yeah.
Yeah, didn't they sing when the shepherds?
It doesn't actually say sing.
No.
That's what the hymnal says.
Okay, I thought they sang a song.
You can't find it as actually singing. It doesn't say sing. It says they said. So that's where tradition is kind of brought in the singing. Of course, they have it in the movies. It must be so, right? We had it on video. So
It looked at when they called Jesus referred to in Revelation, I'm the root and offspring of David, the bright and morning star. So
Yeah.
that's a very one specific
star of the
So it's not. This is not referring specifically to Christ.
No, I don't think so. This is a group of stars. But they're the stars that appear that you could see even while the sun's going. But it's just referred to as angels, so it's a star idea. Okay. We finished Job. We're off our list here. Now we're going to angelic watchers. One of the categories, let's go to Daniel chapter 4, verse 13. I mean, we are like moving through. So this whole grouping is about an aspect that angels are watching. Okay? And it's not for entertainment. Otherwise we'd be hilarious. But the thing is, that's not what they're watching for. We want to find out why they're watching and what is significant about being watched. Okay? What is that significant? And Sue's going to tell us the start. So this is in Daniel. This is in the midst of Nebuchadnezzar's second dream. This is the chop the stump down dream, the tree and make it into a stump, and he's going to have 7 periods of time where he's going to go, So this is, I'm looking in the vision in my mind as I lay on my bed, and behold, now it says, angelic watcher, a holy one descended from heaven. Now the word angelic is italicized. What does that mean, Sue? It doesn't actually appear in the text. Okay?
So just a watcher.
Yeah. How do we know it's an angel?
Holy One?
A holy one, and this function of watching.
Okay.
So what does watching mean? Why would he describe him as, we know it's a holy one, but why describe it as a watcher?
I don't know. Watching over?
Yeah, watching over. And it's this, the thing is, you'll find out that this angel has a decree that we're going to hear in verse 17. It says, "This is the sentence of the decree of the watcher, and the decision is a command of the holy ones, in order that the living may know that the Most High is the ruler over the realm of mankind, and bestows it upon whom he wishes, and sets over it the lowliest of men." What is the watcher doing? I mean, these are aliens, isn't that? This is where that people get this alien thing from the Bible. So, but notice it says, they're the ones who make the decree, right? So these angels, these holy ones, are doing what? Watching over and then making a decision, aren't they?
Yes.
What decision are they making?
That the living may know that the Most High is the ruler.
Yeah, he's in charge. This watcher is watching, and this decree comes through him to say, Nebuchadnezzar, you're going to come to realize God's in charge, right? God's in charge. So the angels aren't just watching and say, wow, that's kind of fascinating. They're actually doing, right, something. They're watching over, and if people don't act with pride and don't realize this lesson, they're teaching it. So they're the enforcers in this one. This is the enforcer of what? Of people understanding that God's in charge. But the idea of watching is that they're watching over. So angels have a role to watch over what is going on, to teach lessons. These are holy angels, that God's in charge. Of course, it's authorized by God, but you understand that they are responsible to make this happen. So that's these are what watchers are doing. We got one more watcher in Jessica in verse 23. What can we learn about the watchers here? And the king saw a watcher, a holy one, descending from heaven and saying, "Chop down the tree and destroy it, yet leave the stump with its root in the ground, but with a band of iron and bronze around it, the new grass of the field, and let him be drenched with the dew of heaven, and let him share with the beasts of the field till 7 periods of time pass over him." What do we learn about the angel, the Holy One?
Again, it's communicating a message.
Yep. Where's he coming down from?
Heaven.
Right, he descends from heaven. He's holy, set apart, right? And what's his message? Chop, chop. He's into forestry.
The king.
Yeah, the king's getting chopped down, right? So he's passed. They are the enforcers of what? This chop. Right? They're told to chop, and that he's going to take away what? The mind of Nebuchadnezzar, so he acts like an animal. For 7 periods of time. Time is up.